everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm in a mood. So I was gonna do a reading like romances, but I'm actually in the mood to read horror. So I think we're actually just gonna read some horror. And I'm hoping to get to 8 Perfect Murders, Small Spaces, and Runtime, and then maybe a few others. We'll see. I was gonna make this a 24-hour vlog, but then I was like, I may not be in the mood to read for 24 hours. So instead, we'll do reading horror books until I get tired on Valentine's Day. That's going to be the plan. But I'm going to jump into 8 Perfect Murders, and then I'll let you know what my thoughts are once I've made it maybe like 20% through the book. Okay, besties, I just made it through the first chapter. And I think you saw in like the little sped up version of me reading this that I was actually fucking laughing out loud. Okay, listen. The first few pages, I was like, the writing of this reminds me of someone. And then I read a little bit more, then I was like, oh my gosh, it reminds me of Agatha Christie. Like, this very much reads like an Agatha Christie novel. And then the detective, literally the next page, is talking to the man who wrote the blog. He runs like this mystery thriller bookstore, and he wrote a blog a few years ago called 8 Perfect Murders. And people are dying. Like, people have been dying for the past few years, and they realize there's a connection. So they start talking about the ABC murders by Agatha Christie. And as soon as they start doing that, I was like, duh, that's why I know this. Peter Swanson's latest book, I think, was, I'll pop it on the screen somewhere, like this one. And it's the one that's supposed to be like and then they were none retelling. And I was like, obviously, bestie, he's an Agatha Christie fan. So that is what's going on and why it's reading like an Agatha Christie novel. I didn't tell you the summary of this, but I've spoken about this book before. It's been on many TBRs. The essential gist of it is that we're following this man who runs a mystery thriller bookstore. A few years ago, he wrote a blog post called 8 Perfect Murders. People start dying, and it turns out they're following the exact rules of that list. So the FBI get involved, and they're trying to figure out what is the connection between these people. The whole conversation about the ABC murders in here, I'm like, you just spoiled the entire fucking book. You literally took the ending and you spoiled the ending of ABC murders. With that said, obviously this book is like several decades old. ABC Murders is an old book, but that doesn't mean that I want it to be spoiled in here. Like, you just ruined the whole book. Now I can't go read ABC Murders because I know what's going to happen. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading this, and maybe I'll go outside. We'll see. The weather is all nice, but I'm in a funk, so we'll have to see. I will see you, though, when I've made it to maybe... Let's say I'll see you at page 50 of this book, because then I would have made it through a good chunk of it. It's not super big, so I might be able to fly through it, although I'm not an Agatha Christie fan, and I don't like that writing style, so we'll see how I feel about it. I know I said I would check in with you 60 or 50 pages in, but I am 106 pages in. It's been like 30 minutes. This is a super quick read. Well, not quick. Let's say it's a super easy read. You could just pretty easily flip the pages. And while it does remind me of Agatha Christie, I do find myself feeling like engaged with the story. I'm just like passively enjoying the story, passively taking it in. We've gotten to some pretty wild scenes. This is not a spoiler. Like, some scenes are heavy-handed, and the narrator himself is like, you should suspect me. And that's what I think is heavy-handed. I am enjoying it. I'm curious to see how this is going to play out, and I'm enjoying the aspect of this book, which is about books, which is really fun. I don't particularly like the way that he speaks about his ex-wife, not all the time, because it's very obvious that like our main character Malcolm does really love his wife, or did really love his wife, but the way that he talks about some of the things that she experienced, I'm just like, it gave me some iffy feelings, but overall I am enjoying it. That's all I have to say for this update. I'm probably gonna finish this soon. This book's only 270 pages, so we shall see. Hello. I'm back from my walk and from lunch with my mom. I have about 100 pages left of 8 Perfect Murders. I should grab the book and hold it up, but I'm not going to. So I'm enjoying it so far, and it's definitely, like I mentioned earlier, an easier read, but also I feel the story slipping away from me. And by that, I mean it's forgettable. And I think that within 48 hours time of finishing this book, I will remember almost nothing about it. I'm having fun, but I will say
I don't like that Peter Swanson keeps spoiling so many books. I'm like, bro, shut up!
Stop telling me the whole plot of all of these other books. I know they were published a long time ago, but what if I wanted to read them? You just spoiled the whole thing. Anyway, I don't think it's gonna be memorable, but I am on sprints with Riley right now, which is fun. They should go for a little while longer. And then right after that, I know that Naomi is starting her sprint as well for Valentine's Day. So it's the perfect day for reading a bunch of horror books. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to pick up Small Spaces, which I will pop on the screen here. But for now, I'm going to take a bath, which is what you can hear running in the background, and read the rest of this book. So I'll see you with my final thoughts on 8 Perfect Murders and my initial thoughts on Small Spaces. I meant to say hi, besties, but I yawned instead. I know I said I would check in with you once I've made a little bit of progress in Small Spaces and finished 8 Perfect Murders, but surprise, y'all, it's 10:30 p.m. I just got off of prints with Naomi, which was so much fun. I'm having a fantastic Valentine's Day. It is the same day, but I wanted to come in and update you all on what I finished and how far I am into Small Spaces. I did finish 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. I don't have too much to add to this. I think that I'm overall disappointed, but I think my expectations were just too high. I just thought I would love a murder mystery about books, and I love the premise of this story. Ultimately, it read a lot like an Agatha Christie book. You get spoiled for a ton of classic murder mysteries, so just be mindful of that. And the ending was enjoyable. I didn't guess who it was, but like when it happened, I wasn't like, oh my God, that's who it was. I was like, oh, that's an interesting choice. So that's all I have to say about this book. Overall, I'm giving it somewhere in like the 2.5 to 3 star range. I think I'm gonna land right in the middle at 2.75 stars for this book. Then I did start Small Spaces, and I said I would update you all when I was a few pages into the book, but surprise! I have read that much of the book on sprints, and I only have this much left. That's about 85 pages. First, I love the cover art for all of the Small Spaces books. So I'm glad that I picked this up. You'll see it in an upcoming haul, and you wouldn't have seen it in my recent book shopping vlog, but just know I did get it. So Small Spaces follows this girl named Olivia. She goes by Ollie. So Ollie is 11 years old, and she lives in this small town in Vermont, and she's having a really hard time in life right now. I'm not gonna tell you why. It's not really a spoiler, but you don't find out why also pretty far in the book. I'm just gonna say she's having a hard time in life right now. She one day is biking home from school, and she goes to sit by the river because Ollie is a really advanced child, and she loves reading. To her, it's a form of escapism. So she likes to read by the river. She goes to the river. She sees this very like upset woman with like black makeup streaked all over her face, and she's crying and she's sobbing, and she's gonna throw a book into the river. And Ollie loves books, and she's like,
I don't give a fuck why you're trying to throw this book into the river. You're not gonna do that on my watch.
So she snatches the book from the woman. The woman says something really creepy to her, and the story picks up from there, because this book turns out to be a nonfiction book about some historical events about a very creepy farm in their hometown. It's not creepy now, but trust me, it's creepy ass history. Didn't disappear. It's the story of this smiling camp. Ollie and her school literally like the next day go to a field trip to Smoky Hollow, I think the farm is called, and their bus breaks down on the way back to the school. The school teacher kind of disappears, years, and the bus driver is like, bitch, you better run. You have to run. And her watch is like, you have to run. So she and two other students go into the forest to run away, and that's what this story is about. If you can see the smiling man, it's a horror story about scarecrows. It is middle grade. I am really enjoying it. I love the characters in this book so much. It's giving me goosebumps vibes. I don't think I'll ever get spooked at any point in this story, but I'm setting my expectations that obviously this is a middle grade and a pretty young middle grade. So the intention is not to scare me. So yeah, I'm having a good time with it. That's all to say so far. I have tabbed it so you can see that I am enjoying it. All the purple tabs are like moments that were funny. So you can see this book is actually pretty funny. And then pink tabs are moments that I loved with Ollie. Actually, this is an orange tab, and orange is just something that the character said that I was like, that's actually really deep. So Ollie, I just love her. There's a scene at the beginning of the book where these kids are bullying the new girl and Ollie like doesn't stand for it, so she takes a rock and she throws it at the back of the head of like this popular boy, and I'm just like, she's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. So yeah, the strength of this book is definitely his characters, although I'm loving the Vermont setting and some of the conversations about some of the things that Ollie is dealing with in her life. So that's it. That's a 5-minute clip already. So I've obviously done too much talking. I'm fucking tired because it's my bedtime. So I'm gonna finish this book. I only have 85 pages left, and I'll see you with my final thoughts on Small Spaces before going to bed, and maybe picking up a Darcy Coates book. I am feeling that mood hit me on this Valentine's Day. With 20 minutes to midnight, I have finished Small Spaces. This was really cute. I know it's supposed to be a horror book, but like, I wasn't spooked, but it was still really cute. I absolutely loved Ollie, and I loved the relationship between her and the two friends with her in this book. This was just adorable. I love their relationships. Yes, it is about scarecrows, and now I really don't understand how the situation resolved, but I'm excited to read the rest of the books in the series. As I mentioned, the covers are beautiful. I think there's at least 2 more books, which I will be getting my hands on as soon as possible. But that is another book down, and that is time for me to go to sleep. Good night, and I will see you in the morning with my next book. My hair is absolutely cracking me up right now, but hello my loves, it is the next morning. It's literally like 9 o'clock in the morning. I am going to start listening to this book because I'm freaking obsessed with Kate Ellis Marshall and I want to read all of her backlist, so that is what I'm doing. But I'm going to be playing The Sims as I do that because I'm in a building mode. So I'll see you with my update for this book, and then I'll tell you what this book is actually about when I remember what it is about. I'm gonna give you an update on Our Last Echoes in a minute. I just have to show you what the fuck my hair looks like after I let it down from the scrunchie. So I'm gonna style my hair and I'll be back in 1 minute. She just needs to dry. So I'm listening to this book, which is, I think, All Our Last Echoes, but it could be some variation of that. So in this book, we are following Sophia. She goes by Sophie now. She slightly tweaked her name. And Sophie believes or has this memory that her mother died when she was very young in a hospital. So she grows up in the foster care system, and when she graduates from high school, she gets a call from this girl saying, what do you know about, I forget what it's called, something Rock Island, and she sends her a picture of her mom and her on the boat. And for Sophie, this is like a big revelation because she's always had very, very distinct memories of drowning in like a river somewhere and her mom saving her, and her thinking that's how her mom like died, but her mom died in a hospital. So there's this big mystery of what's going on. So Sophie scams her way onto a research team that's doing research all about birds on this island to find out more about what happened, what her origin stories are, and with her mother. And of course there's supernatural elements because let's just say there's something a little bit off about Sophie. So I am really enjoying this book. It's a little bit confusing at times, I will tell you that, because we alternate not only like timelines and points of view, we also alternate between like the story and then like logs of old research and things that happened in the past, or like old videos of Sophie where she was being very, very strange. So it's things like that. So I am enjoying it. I'm slightly confused, but I know the whole story is going to come together. So I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm about 25% of the way through. I'm listening to it at 2x speed, which is like a very normal speed for me. And it should take me about 5 hours total to get through the audiobook. So I think that I should be able to finish this by the end of the day. With that said, it is actually a gorgeous, beautiful, sunny day. It's like 70 degrees outside. I'm not kidding. So I will force myself out to go for a walk and continue to listen to it that way, and then come back and play The Sims, because these next few days are about self-care for me, having more fun. So update 1 complete. See you for update 2. It is 2:30 p.m. I am home. I'm 62% of the way through the book. I am enjoying it, but besties, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm really fucking confused. I don't know what the hell is happening. I don't know. No fucking idea. Not a zero clue. Because what this feels like is because we're getting some chapters where with Sophie or Sophia, then some chapters we are like occasionally at a different point of view, but then we're also looking at videos from a long time ago, and we're listening to recording and interviews from like last year. I'm confused. It's a little bit like watching a movie, but you're blinking like this, and you're trying to understand what you're seeing through the little flashes in your vision. Like, that's what it feels like. So I am gonna finish it. Hopefully the ending is like wild and crazy and chaotic and it all comes together, because right now I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. Not a single clue. I finished Our Last Echoes. I'm giving it 2.75 stars. Oh. I was just confused. All of the things that I said earlier in the vlog are exactly the same thing. By the ending, I was still fucking confused. I don't know what happened, and that could be a me problem, but I could not keep up with this story at all. But anyway, we move on, we prosper, and we eat dinner. It is noon the next day. I just finished therapy, and I am ending this vlog here because the goal was not to read as many books as possible. The goal was to read spooky books until I got bored. So I had a really great time filming this. I had such a good Valentine's Day. I thought this was so fun to do around Valentine's Day. And yes, I did pick up Valentine's Day pajamas while they were on sale. So we started with 8 Perfect Murders, just to recap, which I mostly enjoyed. If you love Agatha Christie, you're going to enjoy this. If you don't mind being spoiled for classic murder mysteries, you might enjoy this as well. For me, it was a 2.5 stars at the end. It was fine for what it was, but it wasn't anything exceptional, but I had a good enough time with it. Then I moved on to Small Spaces, which you can see from its tabs. I actually had a really great time with. I'm sad that I didn't find the other books in the series while I was at the bookstore, but I am glad that I had a great time with this. This is a super cute story. If you were a Goosebumps kid, I would say, if you like the creepy atmosphere, but you know you're not going to get scared and you're really just there for like the friendships and the strength of the characters, then you're gonna enjoy this. I had a great time with it because I love that aspect of the book, and it also just made me laugh so many times in a good way, in the sense that the author was clearly making a joke, and that joke did land with me. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I love the covers for these books. I will be continuing with this series. Then I moved on to Our Last Echoes by Kate Alice Marshall, and I had a good enough time with that. Like, Kate Alice Marshall, her writing, we get along really well. Like, I love that style of writing. It really works for me, and the audiobook was really great in how it's narrated, but I was just overall really confused and had a hard time keeping up with the story, and by the end I was just like, I don't know what the fuck is happening, and I still don't know what the fuck was happening. But I'm landed on 2.75 stars. I just think this wasn't the perfect story for me, but I am planning to do a Kate Alice Marshall reading vlog. So let me know if you have recommendations for that. But thank you so much for watching this vlog. I hope that you enjoyed it. It was definitely very reading heavy. If I'm looking exactly the same in the next vlog, it's because I'm probably gonna start that right after. But subscribe if you would like to, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!